And welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there, episode 249. If you're watching the video, you may notice I look a lot better. Guess why? I purchased a webcam from a gentleman on Nextdoor. And with it, he gave me a ring light, so I'm using that too. But everything looks better. Everything should sound exactly the same because I already had the nice microphone in the Zoom. So here we are, recording better, and just in time for me to have 0 interviews for the rest of the year because it is the week of Christmas. Christmas is in 5 days, and that's how we deal with that. Let's see. Let's get on to what did I do this weekend? I saw Avatar. It's one of the few times in the past couple of months, let's just say it's one of the few times in the past, since the pandemic began, that I rushed out to see a movie on the weekend it came out. I don't go a day, with the exception of the Simpsons movie and Bob's Burgers, the movie. Everything else would be up in the air, and I'd rather wait. However, last year I saw, what was it, Spider-Man No Way Home. I saw that one the weekend it came out because I think I just purchased Amazon AMC A-List, and I was gonna go see a friend back in our suburb hometown where she currently lives, and I refuse to live, and I drove back and I went up there and we saw it in IMAX. At the only IMAX theater I know of. Well, no, I think there's one more in the city, but I choose not to go to that area. Anyway, and boy, I look good. I look amazing. It's got this autofocus thing that sometimes has to flicker, but other than that, it looks fantastic. And so I decided to go to see Avatar: Way of Water. Day 2. They had an early morning movie at 9:30. I think that's when I came. Yeah, 9:30 or 10 o'clock, one of those. And left at 1:30 p.m. It's long, and it did. You know what I'll say? It did not feel long. I did not. There's not one point in the movie where I said, "Boy, this is going on for too long." Because sometimes you'll watch, The Irishman. I could sit there and go, "Oh, geez, they could have cut this scene." But for Avatar, I'm sure there's stuff that, obviously if I go back and watch it again, it could be cut. But when I saw the original Avatar, I was in high school and I saw it with a bunch of people. And when you're in high school, you go to see movies, and you're stupid and you don't know anything, and you base your opinions on what your friends said and things like that. And I just thought, it's a dumb movie and it was only there for the looks. But man, I kind of want to see where James Cameron goes with this. If he has 5 planned, he said, I read that he said if people want 6 and 7, then I'll make it. I was like, no, just do the 5 and go away. But if he's got 5 planned, hey, more power to him. Now speaking of Avatar, so we're gonna scurry right into this, and I'll actually move some stories up. This was going to be the main story for the episode, but it doesn't matter. Who cares? Week 1 Avatar 2 sales were not as expected. This is from the Wall Street Journal, written by Robbie Whelan and Austin Ramsey. Ramzy. Interesting spelling. Disney's Avatar sequel opens with tickets sales shy of predictions. The haul is domestically is about 134 million. And then for China, the China numbers are down as well. This comes from Hollywood Reporter Patrick Brzezinski. China box office, Avatar 2 opens far below tracking at 57.1 million as COVID outbreak bites. And now we know that China has been going through lockdowns for the past, unwanted lockdowns for the past a long time, for basically since the pandemic started, but the problem is that this movie was projected, and that's the thing with projections. that they could be wrong, but this movie was projected to make 175, between 150 and 175 in North America, which is lofty to say the least, but it is one of the most expensive movies ever made, one of the most expensive franchises, one of the biggest directors in the world who's dedicated his entire life to making these movies now. He said, no longer will I make any other movies of substance. And now the I think, given that I saw it this weekend and I knew what I was expecting from looking at it going in terms of seeing the movie the way that James Cameron would want you to see it. Like when you watch a movie at home, if you have a new TV that came out recently within the last, let's say, 6 or 7 or 8 years, there's a thing called motion interpolation, or it's a thing on your TV that makes everything run at a high frame rate, whether it was shot like that or not, and it makes it look like it's what the industry has called it, the soap opera effect, and not many. Um, not many people like it, and that, in fact, no one like. I mean, I don't think, like, if you have the TV, no one really likes it. If you have the purchase, if you buy a nice TV and you know what you're doing, you set it up the correct way, then those people turn it off. But the normal person, they probably still have it on. Like, I know for a fact that I've set up two TVs for two different people within the last 2 years, and it was on, and they didn't notice. And I have to be like, no, this is not good. Um, but going in, I knew that I was going to go see Avatar in 3D in a way. I'm like, hey, let me just watch it the way that he wants us to watch it. But then I didn't know there was going to be high frame rate parts, and I think he's like the only director that likes it, because I don't think, Tom Cruise hates it. I think Seth Rogen hates it. And the rest, and Spielberg and everybody else has a strong dislike of it. Peter Jackson, I believe, hates it as well. But James Cameron, for whatever reason, thinks this helps his movie. And I mean, to some point, it did. It's a gorgeous movie, and you watch on a big, I saw it at AMC, so you watch on a big. What they now have is like laser. I think that's what they call it, laser Dolby Cinema plus. Well, it wasn't Dolby Cinema because I didn't watch it in 3D. But you have on glasses, and then at differing points of the movie, I would say, like, basically once a scene, it turns into high frame rate, and it is. And if you're watching high frame rate, then you'll be like, okay, this is high frame rate. But otherwise, the layperson probably wouldn't, or definitely wouldn't. And watching it in that way was, I mean, the point of this is, they obviously got extra bucks from me because I watched it. Even if I watched it at 9:30 or 10 o'clock in the morning, they still got that 3D bump from me, the extra $3, versus somebody who went to a 2D showing without high frame rate on a very crappy screen, which still there's an AMC near me, and well, not near me, but in Decatur, that doesn't have Dolby Cinema, it has big 3D, not real 3D, but like big 3D, and whatever, I think that's what it's called, big 3D, and just regular 2D screens, and the tickets there were $7 or $9, and why would I drive 15 minutes when I could just hop on my bike and go? Well, even though I did drive 3 minutes to this one, but go to my theater and watch it, and spend that money and have a recliner and all that stuff, but which I really don't care about. But anyway, all that being said, that definitely helped them in the short run, especially with this initial play. But this is a huge return, especially for Disney, back to China, for them having to, not having, but China, wants to cut scenes out of Strange Worlds, I believe that's what it's called. They want to cut scenes out of out of Disney's animated movies because it's got gay scenes in it, or it's got a gay character in it, not gay scenes. Like, there's gay scenes in this Disney movie. Oh my gosh. And but Chinese viewers have liked it. Chinese viewers enjoy the movie, and I believe they enjoy the original Avatar as well. I could look up those numbers, but I refuse to. There wasn't any testing, as according to this Hollywood Report article. In the new absence of regular mass testing, the extent of China's outbreak has become a matter of guesswork. But anecdotal evidence, long hospital waits, blah blah blah, COVID stuff suggests a major spike is underway, which could be a reason as to why people didn't show up for the film in China. It opened up to 15.8 million on 735 Chinese IMAX screens, a 27% share of the film's weekend total. IMAX is best indexing ever in the country. The original Avatar film opened in 2009 and got about 77 million domestically, and went to become that 2.9 billion juggernaut that is today. But that was 77 million week one. Now the question is, I saw a little article, and I can't remember. I think it was the Wrap, but it's the Wrap Pro, and I can't link to that because it is a buy-in. Is it possible for Avatar to, like Top Gun Maverick, last 6 to 7 to 8 months inside the movie theater? Now, Maverick, if you are someone who collects Blu-rays like myself, I was going to say DVDs, but come on, it's Blu-rays now, baby. Blu-rays and 4K. If you're someone who collects those things like myself, then you'll know that Top Gun Maverick, or if you're somebody who subscribes to Paramount Plus, you'll know Top Gun Maverick is coming to Paramount Plus December 23rd. Same day as Strange Worlds is heading to Disney Plus. However, this is the first time it's available streaming. Versus a month ago, I believe on a week before Black Friday, Maverick launched digitally to buy for $20, or to rent for $20, and then eventually to buy for $20. And now you can just rent it for, I don't know, $8, $9, however much it is. And it took forever to come to Blu-ray, to DVD, which is the most frustrating thing in the world. To be like, I'm ready to buy this thing, and September rolls around, and you're like, okay, it's still in theaters, but when's it gonna come? And then in August and October, and then you hear, oh, it's gonna come to Blu-ray in November. You're like, oh Jesus. But can Avatar 2 hold in a theater just like Maverick did? Now, this isn't the first time that movies have done this. Before streaming platforms and before DVD sales really drove this stuff, movies used to stay in theaters for months. They used to be in theaters for so long. What's a big movie? If the Batman came out in March, it would be in theaters well into summer, and then after that, and your local movie haunts. But this is from Rebecca Rubin at Variety. Avatar 2 needs to become a box office success. Is $2 billion within reach? And if you recall, $2 billion is the number that they're targeting. They need, James Cameron specifically said that Avatar needs to make $2 billion just to break even, because it is so expensive. I saw I don't know if these are true, but on Wikipedia, if you look at the Avatar sequels, it says this one had a budget of $350 to $460 million. But the next ones in the franchise have lower budgets of $250 million. Now, whether that's technology has gotten, first of all, those numbers could be completely false. But whether that's the initial numbers, or whether Disney is, now that they own Fox assets, they're saying, no, you're only going to get this much for the rest of the series. I think it is possible to break even and then some. But I'm looking at it right now. It says 250 for the next three. All right, well, good for them. I mean, maybe technology's gotten better, and also they shot, I think, a third of three, or they shot three and a third of four, or something like that. Let's see, production development. And now she actually covered the screenplay. Okay, where's production though? This is okay. Filming. Avatar 4. Okay, blah blah blah. In early June. This is Avatar 3 on the Wikipedia. 95%. September 2020, Cameron announced that 95% of Avatar 3 had been completed. So they definitely shot a third of Avatar 4 after that. I mean, I think it's possible. But there's only 5 movies in history, according to this Variety piece, that have even crossed that $2 billion mark. And Avatar, Avengers Endgame, Titanic, The Force Awakens, and Infinity War. And if you look at Titanic, Endgame, I mean, if you look at all those movies except for Avatar, though, and the first Avatar, those did not have to contend with the 3D aspect of it all. Like those earned those hard-earned bucks. Now, globally, Way of Water grabbed about 435 million over the weekend, which is very good for even for like there are movies, compare take the budget out of it. There are movies that came out this year rather that just didn't make anything. And they were expected to, but they could blame their problems on the pandemic. Now that same issue is rearing its head with Avatar 2, and it's showing that not even the biggest movies are still expected to take a hit. And then also, take that in point with not just China having to go into lockdowns, but there's a triple demic. There's RSV, the flu, and the coronavirus. And if someone's child, if a family is like, let's go see Avatar, and then someone's child comes down with RSV, God forbid, and then someone else comes down with the flu, then they can't go see this movie. Titanic debuted with 28 million in 1997, which is giant, I guess, for the time. Was Titanic that like that? Because I was alive, but I was a child, so I didn't even clock Titanic. I was probably more paying attention to Pokemon. Speaking of which, Ash Ketchum leaving Pokemon. Well, he's not leaving. I mean, they're getting rid of him. He's a cartoon. He can't leave Pokemon. It's crazy. Like 26 years of cartoons and with that guy, and he's leaving. Man, I'm a little sad. But I don't write the show, so that's what happens. I the what happens after the fact, what happens in the next couple of weeks is going to be determining of what I don't think Disney of how much they will gross. I don't think Disney will. The marketing campaign has just been insane. I did not see. You know what? I will say this. I watch a lot of late night, and I don't remember seeing any of the actors do the rounds. And if they did, then I did see Sigourney Weaver. I think she was on Kimmel. But other than that, I didn't see like Sam Worthington. I didn't see Zoe Saldana. I didn't see Cliff Harris. Is that his name? I was just looking at the names. I didn't see CCH Pounder, even though she was barely in the movie. Spoiler alert. Anyway, I enjoyed my time with it. I fully like I watched the first one on Friday, and again, and I was sitting there thinking, God, this is better than what I remember. Oh my gosh, wait a minute, and I go see the second movie in the morning. I'm like, wow, this is better than I thought. I snuck in a bagel sandwich, a breakfast bagel. Oh man, it was amazing. And a coffee, and a nitro coffee. And I was humming through that movie. That's probably why I didn't feel anything. I was just sitting there watching the movie, just shaking my entire body. Oh my gosh. And you know what? It wasn't full. Thank goodness. I was able to sit. I like to sit up front. I like to sit on the third row. Because that's not where people like to sit. I like to sit on the third row. I like to sit on the edge seat. I need an edge seat. And I don't think anyone talked, but because that's another thing I hate. I don't want to see cell phone usage, and I don't want to see someone talking or hear someone talking. And I don't want to hear clapping. I don't want to hear anybody hooting and hollering. you treat you sit there, you treat it like white church. Movie theaters are white church. Okay, that's the title of this episode. Hey, this next one comes from Wall Street Journal, written by Miles Kruppa. YouTube stars cash in video rights for millions of dollars. Now, the idea of this is you're a YouTube person, and your current output. I mean, it's not even lacking or anything, but you've already put ads on your videos, and the back catalog is not doing well. Let's look at Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast has let's say 150 videos, and the most recent videos, the most recent 20 are the ones that are performing well because those are the ones he put out in the last 2 years. 2 years, and then the first 50 aren't. They're getting ad revenue from the newer people watching or from older people watching, but they're not getting as much as they should. What if a firm came up to you and said, we want to purchase the ad rights to your videos, we'll give you X amount of money? Well, that's what happened with a startup that approached Justin Watkins, who goes under the name Think Noodles, and they purchased the film rights, the rights to his old videos. Now, Spotter Inc. and Kelly Network Inc., which does business as Jelly Smack, are flooding the personalities behind top YouTube channels with offers to license their old videos, pitching the deals as timely infusions that can help them expand their businesses. Spotter said it had spent $740 million on content licensing agreements since 2019, after announcing earlier this year that it planned to invest $1 billion by the middle of 2023. Jelly Smack has put aside $500 million for similar deals. Does this sound like an enticing move for somebody who has a lot of videos, who has ad revenue on those videos, but is not making the return dough? I think we are now in a period, Springsteen, who was it? Stevie Nicks, Bob Dylan, they all, and a bunch of other people, Imagine Dragons, if you can believe it, sold their rights to their back catalogs, for a certain amount of money. I think Imagine Dragons, in fact, got 150 to 200 million, something like that, and Springsteen got $500 million, I think. Essentially, it is, you can have, I think, if, in particular, Springsteen, his stipulations where you can't use his music for commercials, particularly political ads. I remember that distinctly, and stuff like that. But you can use his music however you see fit. So a company could, the company that bought it could sell the rights to Dancing in the Dark to a new Footloose movie. Anyway, Jelly Smack offered Mr. Watkins $2.1 million for his YouTube back catalog's earnings during the next 5 years. Now, you have to see if you're really going to bet on yourself. And I mean, that sounds like a cliche, but you're really betting to see that, are you going to be able to make that kind of money? Are you going to be able to make $2 million from your ad revenue for the next 5 years? And if you see, what is it? What's the term I'm looking for, where you have to weigh your options? I don't know. Anyway, you have to determine the losses that you'll take by just taking this lump sum of $2 million up front. Asking Spotter for a competing offer. Wait, okay. Mr. Watkins said Jelly Smack's proposal allowed it to seek recourse if he failed to create an average of 41 videos a month, a rate that the company calculated based on his uploading history. Jesus. Oh my God. After asking Spotter for a competing offer, the company returned with a $1 million deal that also required Mr. Watkins to regularly upload videos. Mr. Watkins declined Spotter's proposal, and Jelly Smack retracted its offer after his channel briefly lost access to ad revenues because of a mix-up with YouTube's monetization system. And that's another thing. Before even the deal closes, YouTube is consistently having problems. People are consistently having issues with YouTube's revenue system because a video that the YouTube's AI says a video was, said something negative or has misinformation or something, and then that person can lose not only that revenue for that particular video and maybe even stuff behind it, but or that was uploaded before it, but then they could also lose the whatever deals they have coming through, or whatever's coming next. And it's just it's a game of you have to play truly of trusting yourself and seeing what you can do, and even if you're going to be around for the next 5 years on YouTube, because this is it's still an unsure thing. I mean, obviously you can make a living, but not everybody is going to be Mr. Beast or Good Mythical Morning or the rest of the people that whose names I don't know or care for. Jelly Smack offered one YouTube creator a cash equal to 80% of the expected value of their back catalog over the next 5 years, citing an algorithm and other data points according to a marketing presentation reviewed by WSJ. A separate Spotter presentation pitching a 5-year deal didn't provide an estimate of the same creator's catalog value. The presentation said Spotter used, quote, predictive engine to calculate its offer. And these and one thing to note is that these are all startups. So these companies aren't even established. But you can see your value. I mean, even taking the meeting would be nice because you could see your value, or rather, what those outside companies value you at. Hey, let's move on. This next one comes from the New York Times, written by Natasha Singer. Epic Games to pay $520 million over children's privacy and trickery charges. Now, if you know, Epic Games has been in the news for the past couple of years for accusing companies like Apple and then to some extent Google and others for creating closed ecosystems when it comes to putting outside apps onto their storefronts. So much so that Epic has moved. I don't think Fortnite is available on Android anymore, but it's definitely not on Apple, and you have to download it directly from their site if you want to play on mobile, whatever, what have you. Now, that's a totally separate charge, or idea, or topic. Epic Games is now having, as said by the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, they've reached a settlement of $520 million to overcharges that the company illegally collected information from children and, quote, separately tricked millions of players into making unintentional purchases. Don't know why I said quote. Epic Games creates Fortnite as well as Fall Guys. The deal involves record penalty amounts in two separate cases. Now, the thing is, it's what it was saying is that Epic Games is making it too easy for children to purchase things, especially things that don't matter in the game, like emotes or dances for Fortnite and costumes for Fortnite and Fall Guys, and they just made it so easy. And you've heard the story. Kids will, be on their mom or dad or whomever's phone or iPad, and then they'll just buy, a $5 or $10 shirt that's for their in-game avatar. And that's a problem. That's a huge problem. Epic agreed to pay $275 million to settle regulators' accusations that it violated a federal law, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. That's $275. Now, the amount dwarfs the $170 penalty, the previous record for child privacy violations, that Google agreed to pay in 2019 over accusations. Every single Google home in here. Thank you. That it illegally harvested data from children on YouTube and used it to target them with ads. Now Epic's not the only company doing it, but this does set a precedent for what can happen and what is to come. I mean, it's kind of like the opioid payouts, the settlements, between Walgreens and CVS, even though those are, and Johnson and Johnson and the rest of them, even though those are a little bit smaller than what they should be. They should be more billions of dollars, but and the same thing for Alex Jones. Like it may sound like a lot, and a lot of time for Epic it is. For Alex Jones, it is not, because he was a big fat red turd that was spreading misinformation and hate and stuff. And again, misinformation is my favorite rapper late 90s, 2000, female rapper from the late 90s, early 2000s. I couldn't even get it out. That's how bad it was. But this is definitely going to set uh, what should happen going into the future. I might have to move two other stories down so I can have something to do later this week. Oh my god. Is that bad? No, it's not. Hey, listen, if you like what you heard here, and if you want to see a video version of the show, now in HD, now in true HD, looking good with the lighting and everything, head to youtube.com/C plus comedy. Also, there you can find News Time, which is our premiere show. I have 3 episodes to upload this week, and let me see what they are. One is going to be an amalgamation of 2 things, and then another one is going to be a news episode, which is the big one I usually do at the end of the year. And then, the last one is a very special episode. An idea that I had that I thought was so funny. All right, we'll do that. And yeah, that's it. YouTube.com/C plus comedy. See the video stuff. You can also watch video versions of interviews under the interviews. YouTube.com/C plus comedy. So you got a video version of this podcast. You got News Time, which is our premiere show, which is like the Daily Show, except way less funny. Oh, I forgot to talk about Trevor Noah. No, I'll do that. And then you got the interviews, which is video versions of my interviews with famous people. The most recent, Megan Amram and Adam Devine. Megan Amram is a very funny writer. I know her mostly from The Simpsons because I love The Simpsons, also The Good Place and things of that nature. And then there's Adam Devine, who's from Workaholics, Game Over Man. I'll only name the Workaholics things that he's done. Workaholics, Game Over Man, the Workaholics movie. He's Adam Devine. He's done everything. And we talked about Bumper in Berlin over on Peacock. So definitely check out those interviews rather. They're very, very good. If you want to head to the website cpluscomedy.com, you can, where everything lives. What else? Oh yeah, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok at C plus Comedy. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Yep. Me at Chad Black White. Rate, review, subscribe to this show. Tell your friends about it. It's great. I enjoy doing it, and now it looks even better. Yes. Okay. And be on the lookout. There's a new show coming in the new year, and it's going to be a podcast series. Thank goodness. All right. I'm going to go. Bye-bye.